What up? What up? Let me fix my camera real quick. How we doing? The Dubs got the dub over the Jazz. It was kind of at the end, like kind of close, and then Steph just did some Steph things and put the game away pretty much. Steph and Klay at the end, 2 dagger threes back to back, put the game out of reach. Look at us. Look at us.
Look at us
Winning
stacking wins,
Yeah.
winning kind of convincingly, aside from, the Suns game, which we knew that one was going to be a tight one. But to come into Utah, kind of first time back after the passing of Coach Decky, just so you feel like a lot of emotions happening. It's his memorial funeral service today as well. So a lot goes into that. And for the fellas to kind of just like pull it together and get out there and really play hard was really good to see.
For sure. For sure. And that's something that's super encouraging going forward, right? They put forward a winning effort tonight. Like Steph didn't start the game shooting that well, but he finished the game shooting well. And despite that, they were still able to generate offense because they stuck to a game plan, even without Steve and a lot of the coaches there. Kenny ended up coaching, but very clearly they put an emphasis on getting out in transition because the Jazz are a bad transition defense. They have a lot of size, but they don't have a lot of like awareness and speed on the defensive end. So just get out in transition, get layups. And that's what they did. Klay finally got back into a rhythm, which is good. Wiggins hit a few threes. It looked like he was going to go on a mini run of his own at one point.
Okay.
Jonathan had a few moments where he, struggled a little bit to score in isolation, but he got to the free throw line, which he always does, and he somehow still ended up with about, I believe, 14 or so points just off playing near the rim, getting layups, and doing that type of thing. I want to highlight just offensively, like the Warriors put together such a better, like balanced performance from their scores, right? Like their top 4 scorers are Steph, Klay, Kuminga, and Wiggins, right? Not necessarily in that order, but I think it's very similar to what we saw in 2022 with Kuminga just in for Jordan, right? Whereas on one night, it may be Jordan being the second guy. He may be the first guy some nights. It may be, Steph. Most nights, Steph's going to be the first guy. Some days
Right.
Wiggins has it. Some days Klay has it. It's like, this is what we kind of envision where we say, okay, people want a legit second option. Like when people say that to me, that means they just want another first option caliber player in there. It doesn't really mean another second option because, like we said, Kuminga, Klay, Wiggins, they all are capable of being a second option on any given night. And I think that's just as potent as having another first option caliber player on your team next to Steph. And in some ways, it's even more potent because one guy can just step up that particular night. Whereas if you're relying on 2 guys, if one of them isn't there, then you're kind of,
Right. Pigeonholing yourself.
Exactly. Like you look at the Suns, it's like if one of Bill or Booker or KD don't got it that night, sure, the other guy can go for 40 or something like that, but like it just puts more pressure on the role players. It puts more pressure on these guys. Whereas if you just have 4 guys that can all give you 20 on any given night, with 2 or 3 of them give you 30, that's huge. And we saw that finally on display. I feel like it's been a long time since we've seen all 4 of them have a good offensive scoring game in the same game. But they combined for 82 points, I believe over 50% from the field. I think they combined for 14 threes. JK hit a 3. I think both Wiggins and Klay hit 3 apiece, and Steph hit 7. It seemed like he hit all 7 in the fourth quarter.
Exactly.
That's huge. I mean, if they can keep this defense up, you add that level of offense to this defense, and they become a very, very dangerous team.
Exactly. And the balanced scoring, like you said, that way Curry doesn't have to feel the need like, all right, I got to at least get 30, 35 just so that we can stay afloat and maybe win by 5 points. No. So if you've got the balanced scoring throughout, then that's less pressure on him to have to be like, okay, Steph, go win us this game now.
Mhm.
It's more of just kind of in the flow of it. If he happens to get hot for 7 straight threes, or whatever,
Game
that's just
over.
how it's going. Okay,
Right.
exactly.
Mhm.
Exactly. So it was good. And like you said, the defense, that was key. And you just saw it on display, even though Draymond got into early foul trouble. In that first quarter, he had like two, and then a quick three, and then he had to sit for like 11 minutes.
Mhm.
And that kind of just is like a shot to us. But the guys picked it up and kind of just hung in there and did what they could just to stay solid on that end, that the game doesn't get away from us and Utah feels like, oh yeah, now we've got the momentum and everything like that. So
Mhm.
it's just been key, and you can see the defense kind of just all starting to really click together, and it's kind of just like, yeah, we all know what we're supposed to do on that end.
Yeah. Is it starts with energy on the point of attack. Um, we saw Gary come in. He had a brief stint today. I think they're just trying to manage his body a little bit. He only played 15 minutes,
Yeah.
but he came in, obviously made an immediate impact just with his energy. Pods is trying out there. I think there's just certain people he just won't be able to guard very well.
Right.
And that's okay. That's okay. But yeah, they're just bringing that energy and it's leading to more fast breaks. Klay had a great defensive game,
He
switching on the
did.
guys, playing bigger guys seemingly all night. And they held the Jazz to 107 when Jordan Clarkson came in there and looked like he was going to score 50 tonight.
Yeah.
They kind of cut his water off quick. He's hit like his first 6 or 7 shots. And then from there, he was just kind of cold. But yeah, 107 to the Jazz at home is pretty good because the Jazz, they're after the trade deadline, it didn't get better. They got a little bit worse, but they still got a lot of talent on this team, especially
Yeah.
scoring wise. And to hold them to 107 is pretty good. Draymond Green, speaking of Draymond, he only played 23 minutes, but still aggressive scoring. He hit that crazy shot at halftime.
Yes.
Crazy three off his right foot, fading from the half court line. It's crazy.
Okay. No
But
kind of arc to it. No,
no
just
art. Their straight line, drop, flat shot, go right in there like he was Steph. Crazy. That was just like one of those things. Like it's a feel good moment, just momentum carry you into the second half. And he still somehow almost got a triple double, 12 points, 9 rebounds, 8 assists, 1 steal, 1 block, still making great decisions with the ball out of the short roll. He looks as good as has looked in the past few years. Like he's looking like he's playing really good basketball right now. You just hope they kind of like take this momentum into the next 2 games because they obviously got the hottest team in the league coming up with the Clippers, and then they got to play the Jazz again on the back-to-back. And the Jazz are full of youth and energy. They're going to keep coming at you. So that's going to be 2 tough games that they got to win.
right. And the Jazz will be looking for revenge after this one, so,
Mhm.
and again, going back to their home, of course, they're just going to be rejuvenated to be like, no, we're going to get them back or whatever. And we can't allow that to happen. We need to still come in with the force that we did. Yeah. And like you said, trying to take on the Clippers, who are in a groove right now. They're looking like, oh, they're just unstoppable. But again, everybody has their time. And so we hope that, the Warriors can take care of business because we are on a bit of a high, and that's good going into All-Star break.
For sure. For sure. So we got a few subplots going on in this game, mainly having to do with the second unit, right? The starters are pretty much set. I wouldn't even say pretty much. They are set. But the second unit combinations is kind of like the mystery going forward with this team, right? Like who plays between Dario, Loon, and Trace. They're all pretty much equal minutes tonight. Yet again, Trace Jackson vastly outperforms the other two. Um, and we know when Chris Paul comes back, this doesn't become a question at all. But like both Moody and Lester, similar, I wouldn't say similar minutes, but both Ofer didn't score.
Yeah.
Neither
Yeah.
one of them didn't score. So it was pretty much like who's going to play the better defense, who's going to bring more energy and stuff like that. And I think they both play with energy. They both do a lot of similar things. They're asked to do the same thing. But in my personal opinion, even though I like Leicester a lot, I just feel like Moses offers a lot more with his athleticism, with his length, and honestly, with his offensive talent. Like Leicester has a
Yeah.
lot more burst. He might be a more consistent shooter, might be, but I think Moody can just do more things, cutting to the basket, playing in transition and stuff like that. And single game plus minus isn't the best indicator of performance, but he was a plus 13 and Leicester was a -8, and it kind of looked like that when you were watching the game.
Yeah, even though Moody didn't have his best shooting night at all, but again, his energy, his instant impact actually when he finally was allowed to get into the game, you just already saw he's coming up with a steal and everything
Hmm.
and making that hard double team on Jordan Clarkson with that switch with Steph, just the recognition there to know this I don't want this switch for him, but
Hmm.
we're gonna give it, but I'm gonna come over here and give that help.
Right.
And that was key. They've got the shot clock violation there, but again, I just think Moses should have a bit more leeway to kind of just flesh out any of those mistakes so that
Hmm.
he can get his rhythm back. For as long as he's been sitting, for him to still come in with that type of energy and still be in the plus is still encouraging, yet kind of disappointing because he's not given the opportunities that others are being given. So I'm
Hmm.
hoping I continue to hope that we see more of him, but it's always a toss up. We just don't know.
Always a toss up. I mean, I think it's pretty clear once Chris Paul comes back, he will be sitting again along with Lester. Um, Hopefully they at least figure out that backup center situation, because splitting the minutes up between those three just doesn't make a lot of sense. No one can get a rhythm. No one can make a full impact on the game. And you're just kind of playing the guessing game of, yo, do we give up 5 layups when Dario's out there, or can we not score when Looney's out there at all, like for the next 5 minutes? And then Trace comes in and is like, yeah, I'm altering shots and I'm finishing every layup I get. So
Right.
kind of like, why are we like not even just playing this guy? 12 minutes for Dario, 11 for Loon, 9 for Trace, 32 minutes all combined. Like I said,
Mm.
why not just give Trace 20 of the 32 minutes and just give 12 to somebody else, a more perimeter player or something like that, or like Gary or Moody or something like that. Like, you don't have to play Trace 30 minutes, but
Right. And we
he,
don't want to see that just yet. We don't
yeah, just,
because we ain't sure yet.
yeah, just give him a consistent 15 minutes. Like Draymond is going to
Right.
play. Well, he got in foul trouble today, but normally he's going to play 30 plus minutes at center anyway. So the remaining center minutes to just go to all to Trace. It just doesn't
Yeah.
really make a lot of sense right now, but hopefully they figure that out sooner than later. And that doesn't necessarily mean that Dario and Loon are just done for the season. There will be matchups where those guys make more sense. And if Trace is having a bad stretch, then you go to another option at that point. But clearly he's having the best impact on the court out of all of those guys. So he should just
So
get the
he
minute.
really should be the first option
Yeah.
when it comes sub time. Like, get in there, get your feet wet, because again, he's got to come in with the energy for, getting DMPs for a good stretch or whatever. So for him to come in with that kind of energy and already ready to go,
Hmm.
that's also encouraging. But still, again, we don't need to see Dario at the 5 ever
We don't.
because it doesn't produce anything positive. It's always just, hey, everybody attack Dario. You can score as well.
Hmm.
Just,
Yeah.
it's like a buffet.
And I mean, as of recently, he hasn't really been producing offensively as well.
He
For
has not.
a large part of the season, he was one of our more consistent offensive players, hitting threes, getting to the basket, and laying the ball up. Now, I mean, 0 for 3, 0 for 2 from 3, he's not really scoring that much. So now it's just a negative.
Yeah, he's
Um,
looking scary out there.
yeah.
Like scared to shoot. And it's just like, dude. And now he's missing wide open shots. And you're just like, okay, we can't have you missing shots and
Hmm.
also being terrible on the defensive end. So One's got to give, or you
One's
got
got to
to
get
sit down.
exactly, exactly. What was I going to say? Trace specifically, and I made this comment on the timeline. Like each of the trio members have their young guy that makes them a little bit better, makes their job easier. They have complementary skill sets. Steph and Pods have a good synergy together. Pods looks for Steph. He pushes the pace. He's another ball handler. It's similar to what they want with Chris Paul and Steph, which I mean, it does. They do have that connection as well, but Pods just does it in a little bit more of a Warriors traditional way, like with speed and pace and stuff like that and creativity. With Draymond and Kuminga, they have that connection defensively. They have that connection as far as the lobs and the plays that they call for JK. Draymond's a lot of the time the guy who gives him the ball in those positions. So they clearly have that synergy. And even off the court, they talk about each other in high praises. Klay and Trace have that same energy. They have that
Yeah,
same
they do.
connection. They run the plays. And with Trace there, he's diving to the basket, and it's an easy layup. It's an easy pass for Klay because he's a target that can catch the ball. He's an athletic target, and he finishes. He also sets really good screens, right? But Trace doesn't get to play. So Klay doesn't get his young guy that helps him get going,
Right.
like the other guys do. And I think that's one of the few things they can do to help Klay be more consistent. Just play him with other players that amplify his skill set, that make the game easier for him instead of the opposite, where you're playing it with Dario and Loon. So it puts more strain on him defensively, puts more strain on him offensively because he's passing to these guys and they can't score. So
Right.
um
And you saw the energy lift even more once Trace got in, and you
mhm,
see him and Klay with doing their dance and everything. You just saw how it was just popping. Everything was popping, and now you've got Klay hitting his middies and everything like that. So just
exactly.
the energy even picked up even more once Trace was inserted.
Exactly. The key to the game, I think, with Klay is to just get him easier shots more consistently. Get him some layups, some middies, and then the threes will start to fall. And Trace is a perfect guy to do that for him because he has roll gravity, he has vertical spacing. Guys move to him when he's rolling towards the basket, and it just creates that little slither of space that guys like Steph, like Klay, can use in order to get their shot off much cleaner. And even with Steph, we saw he ran a pick and roll with Trace, and it was an and one or something like that. And it's like, this is so easy. Like, I don't understand why they don't just
Yeah.
do it. It's very, very easy for those guys. Yeah, 9 minutes plus 14, 11 points, 4 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 block in 9 minutes of play. Like
9
9
minutes.
minutes. You saw him playing against Boston. He completely changed that game.
Yep.
It's like, just give him the minutes, man. I just don't get it. I do not get it. Just keep going with the players. Keep going with the players. Brandon Pajemski, another good game. 10 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal. He just kind of does it all. Swiss Army knife. He did have 4 turnovers today, but the energy was there. Decision making was there for the most part.
For the most part, yeah. And he hit a couple of threes. Or
He
did he
did.
hit one? I thought he hit
He had
2,
2.
but and that was a welcome sight.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that he actually took it. So that
Mm-hmm.
was encouraging. Encouraging must be the word for tonight for me.
It is. For sure. I mean, like Paz was supposed to be a shooter coming out of college, right? That was the thing that he was supposed to be able to do for sure, and everything else we were kind of worried about. But he's a guy who's shown that he can do everything else at a high level. But the shooting has to catch up to the rest of his game, which is funny.
Right.
But I think it'll be fine in the long run. It's just rookie. He's putting a lot of effort towards everything else. So,
Right.
Once his body adjusts to the grind of the NBA and being able to keep the energy for offense while also playing defense and doing this stuff, I think his shot will become a little bit more consistent. But it was definitely a welcome sight to see him hit some threes today. And hopefully he continues to just grow as a player. I think they're going to lean on him going forward. And it's a gamble because he is a rookie, but he just seems so wise beyond his years, and he understands his role. And he understands that his role is very, I wouldn't say small, but he plays off of the other guys. He plays off the
Right.
veterans, and that becomes much more easier to do instead of having like a load onto your shoulders. Let's look at Andrew Wiggins. Like we said, he had a little mini run of his own.
He did. He look, had his little heat check that they took away from him, but that was that call.
That was crazy.
I say they make up the rules every single game with us. He was in his landing space. He literally came down on his foot. The distance.
Yeah,
that Sexton traveled was short. So the fact that it wasn't a long closeout and put his foot right up under where Andrew would land, then it's just a common foul. It didn't rise to the level of a flagrant. I thought this was a whole landing area space type deal, not the distance one has traveled to get there.
Right. You would think someone who's closer to the shooter would have just a better chance of just getting under somebody rather than someone who's like jumping from far away. If I'm jumping from far away,
getting out of the way, getting out of the way because I'm closer. Let me just, That
just don't make any sense to me. You would think someone jumping from far away would have a harder time controlling their body, their momentum, than somebody close. But like you said, they just make it up as they go. And the rules that they choose seemingly never benefit the Warriors. So it is what it is. But yeah, back to Wiggs. He had a good jump shooting game. I wish he would we won't keep saying it. Dunk the ball.
Dunk it. Just dunk it. God.
Dunk the ball. And it's something else that I brought up on the timeline. Just go off 2 feet, dude.
Right.
JK does it all the time. 2 feet, power. And if you block me, you block me. But 9 times out of 10, you're not going to block me. So, like, I'm going to be strong with the ball, and I'm going to just put it in. But if you're going up off one leg, it's very easy to get knocked off balance while you're in the air. And unless you're...
And if you're going in, even if you're going in unbalanced already.
Yeah.
So it's like...
If you look at all the best finishers in the league, like, unless you're like LeBron, who can go off one leg and still maintain the power of somebody going off 2 legs because he's on steroids. No, I'm just kidding. But unless you're like that type of athlete, which Andrew isn't, he's more slender, like it's easier to knock him off balance than someone who's like 250, right?
Mm-hmm.
All the best finishers in the league jump off 2 feet. All of them. Whether they're athletes or they're just small guys, you see Kyrie doing it all the time. Steph does it all the time. Like I said, JK, Zion, Ja Morant, all these dudes go up 2 feet because you just have more balance. You're stronger. You have more time in the air to adjust and all that type of stuff. So if you know you're anticipating some contact, just go off with 2 feet. It makes it much easier. And a lot of the best plays from that run in 2022, he was going off 2 feet. That dunk on Luka was off 2 feet. Dunk on Brandon Clark, I believe, in the Memphis series, 2 feet. Just jump off 2 feet, bro. Klay needs to do that too, because the one-legged layups for Klay has never been a good idea.
Right.
Just go off 2 feet. Y'all gonna finish a lot more around the rim, and then we'll have a lot more of these 129 scoring, 130, 140 games.
Because there was a lot of bunnies missed.
A lot.
It was just like it was
Mm-hmm.
so perfect for you there, but you decide you want to be fancy. you just want to go in all wild with it instead of find your balance and then just go up.
Mm-hmm.
Take that contact because you're going to get to the line. That's all.
Thank you. Another guy who does that all the time is Gary Payton, and he was 4 for 4. Has he missed a shot since he came back?
Like maybe one, but he's looked awesome.
Yeah, he has. He hasn't. He has not missed a shot yet.
Oh wow.
He was 100% from the field against Phoenix and 100% against Utah. 11 points both games too. So.
Oh, interesting. Gotta play that number.
Yeah. I would love for Gary to average 11 points from here on out on 100% from the field and 100 from the 3. That would be great. he's such a good energy boost. Like it's just like contagious. He's like a kid out there, right? Like he's 31 years old, but he plays like he's 21 years old.
Yeah.
And I think all the guys are feeding off that energy, and he's just so good at the things that he does that if he can stay healthy, they're just a completely different team. Completely different team. So happy to have Gary back, and hopefully he can, stay healthy. They can ride this win streak into the All-Star break. Like we said, they got 2 more games. If they can do that, they would be 3 games above 500 going into the end of the season. Anything's possible.
Anything's possible, and that's what we are looking for. Let's do
miracle.
it. Look.
Yeah. I mean, this was a short and sweet one. I feel like we got to get a little bit more information. I mean, more like conversation going here. But looking ahead and just looking at the West standings, they're still in 10th. Other teams, I think, are the Lakers playing tonight? Lakers are not playing, I don't think. But the Timberwolves are playing the Clippers tonight. Game was kind of like inconsequential towards like the Warriors, but they that'll be hopefully
game.
It's a close game. I was going to say hopefully they go down to the wire and multiple overtimes and stuff. We want the Clippers coming in a little bit tired.
Just a bit tired. Like we'll take any little advantage as possible. But again, we're coming from where we're coming from as well. So it's just like, hey, like we'll take any advantage that we can.
For sure.
So
we'll sure.
But yeah, Pistons, Lakers tomorrow.
Yeah, Pistons, Lakers tomorrow. So that's probably a win for the Lakers. That's cool. Whatever. We just gonna keep stacking these wins. They're gonna lose eventually. Like we said in the previous pod, the Warriors have one of the easiest schedules remaining. If you guys remember, we have not played the Pistons at home yet. We have not played the Charlotte Hornets at all yet. The Wizards at all yet.
Yeah. No, we played the Wizards. Remember Jordan Poole?
We played the Wizards.
Yeah.
You're right. We have not played the Raptors at home, I don't think. Or they played them at home.
We didn't. Right, exactly. We haven't played them in Toronto.
Got you. So, yeah, so a lot of winnable games coming up. They just got to keep stacking them up. If they can somehow get to 50 wins, that would be amazing. But we're taking a game at a time.
Exactly.
They can only lose
1 game at a time.
Yeah, or they can only lose 7 more games. They want to win 50 games.
Okay, let's look at it as 1 game at a time.
Okay.
And we win 1 game at a time.
Right.
Let's not think about you can only lose this much. No. We have to stay on the positive side of this, that we have to win the next game.
Right.
And that's how we look at this. Because we can't get too far ahead of ourselves, because you don't want that disappointment. So, and it's extra pressure on us because, we're playing. No, but just 1 game at a time. That's how I choose to look at it. And, I think we'll be fine.
You're right. Well, the Warriors are tied for the longest win streak in the NBA right now with the Dallas Mavericks, 5 in a row.
Okay.
Going into the All-Star break with 2 more wins will give them the longest streak. So, like you said, 1 game at a time. Let's try to stack these wins up. I guess we can briefly touch on what happened on Sunday. I know you guys got a little bit of pushback from the fans. 49ers end up losing to the Chiefs. It was a good game. That's all I'm gonna say. It was a good game.
It's a good second half. And overtime. Yeah. Well, it was just kind of slow.
It was good defense all game, I think.
It was.
Yeah.
And I can appreciate that because I was like, all right, we got to stop this run. That is for sure. Because, yes, I'm a Chiefs fan. And I knew that we would win. And I do have to admit that I was getting very just like, oh my gosh, it's just too close right now. It's just too close.
As a Chiefs fan, you were feeling that?
Yeah, because it was just like every time we were doing something and then this random penalty happened and it was just like we just did all this work. We just did all this good work here.
Mm,
And oh, you just dropped this pass. Like, really? I needed you to hold on to that.
mm,
But wow, just you still don't count out Patrick ever. And I didn't. I
mhm.
was just like, oh, I just need this over. I was hoping that it was done in regulation. And that to me looked like pass interference, but whatever. We moved past that. We moved past that and we got the win in overtime. And all of these Niners, how are you saying that you didn't know the overtime rules? Before the coin
Yeah,
flip,
that's crazy.
they literally say what the overtime rules are. So the fact that you didn't defer, that's on you. That, that's got nothing to do with anybody else but y'all.
That's true.
So
You also could have just scored a touchdown.
there's a thought.
Um, but yeah, congrats to the Chiefs. I think
Back to
both
back.
teams back to back. That's crazy. That's crazy. Niners had a
Yeah,
good season.
yeah, they did.
Maybe they'll be back. Maybe they'll be back next season. They got a good
Or
team.
maybe they won't.
You know what's
You
crazy?
just never know. You never know.
I didn't see the Pods tweet, but apparently Pods is a Chiefs fan as well, and he was
Yeah,
berated by
him and
Niner
Lester
fans.
both are Chiefs fans. Yeah,
Mhm.
and it was crazy. They like bullied him into deleting it, and he should have never deleted it. It's just like just because you play on the Warriors team, you don't have to be Bay Area other sports team fans. Like you don't have to be that. That's not a prerequisite when you get drafted to a team that you have to root for all of their
Right.
other sports teams. No. If again, somebody I think that was Nat who said if the Panthers were in the Super Bowl going up against the 49ers, you think Curry is coming out saying he's going for the 49ers? No,
Right, right.
he is going for the Panthers and he will let you know that. It's just like, sorry, not sorry. So that's unfortunate. And I really wish Pods didn't feel the need that he had to delete it. It's like, that's your squad, and be happy. And you post all you want about your squad.
Yeah.
Ain't no hard feelings. So put it back up, Pods.
Yeah, put it back up. Twitter is not a real place. People are empowered by the anonymity of these accounts, and
Yeah.
it's not a good thing for society, I don't think. But it is what it is. um, yeah, great win. We're trying to stack these wins. I don't think we have any much more to talk about today. All good performances across the board. Play Moses more, play Trace more.
Yes.
And I mean, that's all I got.
That's all we got.
That's all we got. That's all we got. So we'll see y'all on the next one. Well, Kariemah, see you on the next one against the Clippers. Yeah, there we go.
Can I get it? Can I get it?
Yeah.
Yay! Because it will be Valentine's Day for those that celebrate. And
It will
apparently,
be.
Justin does.
That's crazy. That's a crazy. It's a crazy assumption right there. But yes, I will not be. I will not be there on Wednesday. So Kariemah and Nat will take care of that. Follow us on all of our socials. Golden Spaces Pod on Instagram, on Twitter. I'm just done calling it X. It's Twitter.
Yeah.
Watch us on YouTube on 95.7 The Game's YouTube channel under their podcast folder. You will find us there as the first one, Golden Spaces. Turn on those notifications so you can know when we are posted. Leave a comment, like, subscribe, share, tell people about it. All that stuff. All that stuff, because we are trying to bring that good content to you guys, energy, just like Pods, just like Gary. We're trying to keep it positive. You know,
Nice,
so
nice. Good work there, Justin.
this is something you made up. So don't do that. But yeah, we will see you guys on the next one. Peace.
Peace.